Hello and welcome to today's YouTube video. It actually feels like a lifetime since I've done a YouTube video because so much has changed in my life and in my work since I've last done a YouTube video. I'm now in a therapy room and I am working one-to-one with clients and I'm able to do my readings and my therapy sessions more from this room because there is a lot more peace and there is a lot more quiet. So I do apologise that there has not been a video for a while. So for those of you that are new here, my name is Victoria Bedford. I'm a spiritual medium, a tarot reader, spiritual teacher, a trauma-informed holistic therapist, really wanting to specialise in helping people heal the mind, the body and the soul as one. So many therapeutic therapies out there focus on you as a sum of parts, such as your brain in CBT and DBT and behaviour, somatic work, and all of it has its place, but it needs to be understood that it needs to be put together. And in the therapy that I do, I really honour understanding somatic work, polyvagal work, and psychotherapy work, and I use all of my knowledge around modalities to really help people understand themselves, to heal, and to bring themselves into completion, into connection to self. So in this video, I'm going to be really talking about 3 main signs that you suppress emotions. Why it's dangerous to suppress emotions and actually why it's leading to a huge disconnection in self, but also how can you start connecting to the emotions? How can you start understanding them and why you need to really start doing the work around healing them? When you have repressed emotions, one of the signs are you will feel very, very numb, or you will have outbursts. Now, you may go between the two. So you may have outbursts and then feel numb, have outbursts and feel numb, or you may be in one or the other where you are predominantly numb, or you are predominantly suppressing and then having outbursts. You may get triggered with things that you don't understand. You may be feeling okay 1 minute. You're actually almost a slave to how your emotions are showing up. So 1 minute you could be okay. The next minute somebody says something and you're feeling really angry inside or really hurt, or you're blowing up. I remember this showing up in my life when most of the time I would try and keep my emotions under attack. I would literally try and not say how I felt. I didn't want to feel like I was a nag. I didn't want to feel like I was on people's cases, but also I didn't want to face conflict. I didn't want to say how I felt because I knew it would lead to conflict. So I didn't say anything. And I would let things go. Even if I felt like people weren't helping out around the house or people had just disrespected me, I'd let it go. And then there'd be a day I didn't let it go. And somebody would make an off-the-cuff comment and I would blow. Like, who do you think you're speaking to? How dare you? I'm not having this. You've pushed me too far. I know that I'm somebody that and I'm good until you push me too far. Or I would look at my house and I would be like, that needs cleaning. That needs cleaning. That needs doing. You don't help. You're lazy. And I would blow up. Or I could be cooking dinner and ask somebody to help me. And they're like, no, not right now. No, what do you mean no? Like in that moment, this anger, and I didn't know where it come from. And granted, all the time I apologised. I was like, I'm sorry. I don't know where this comes from. And I didn't realise that was actually a major sign that I repressed emotions. I just had been used to seeing that. I'd seen that growing up. My mum and dad was exactly the same. Everyone's the same. It's normal. Remember? It's normal. Everything that you're used to seeing is normal. But normal does not equate to healthy. But I'd never challenged it because it was normal. And anytime I would speak to my friends and they went through the same thing, it was normal. But I knew it was really affecting me. I knew it was really, really affecting me. And it wasn't until I started a healing journey did I really understand what it meant. But we'll talk about that in a moment. I'm going to talk about one of the next signs. One of the next signs is your body carries tension and pain. You have headaches. You have irritability. You have an inability to rest. Or when you are shut down and can't get out of bed or can't get off the sofa, you have an inability to get through that. You feel blocked. You may have thyroid problems, arthritis, kidney problems, liver problems. You may have high blood pressure, headaches. You may have irritable bowel syndrome, Crohn's, intolerances to things. You may have bloating, calf problems. There are so many illnesses that are not primarily significantly just attached to emotions and emotion suppression. Other factors do come in. But once you work on understanding emotions and emotional suppression, you can then start changing some of the other things in time. Because your brain does not know the difference between emotional pain and physical pain. So your brain, when it feels lots of emotional pain that it's suppressing, doesn't know and doesn't tell you that it's emotional pain. It shows up in physical pain. But not just that, the scientific way is also when your body is repressing emotions and in a state of tension, because it creates tension in the body, you have higher levels of cortisol and adrenaline. Higher levels of cortisol and adrenaline keep all the nerves and the fibers and the muscles ready to fight, ready to be in action. Hence why you can't relax and rest, even when you're trying to. And that in turn creates inflammation because your body is in a constant state of stress internally. So there are scientific proven ways that this affects you as much as there is, spiritual ways, such as feeling like you don't want to connect to people, feeling numb, feeling like now you get so triggered and you're in torn with yourself because you don't understand yourself, because nobody has taught you that emotions are vital. Nobody has taught you anywhere that emotions are vital. You have just seen people be a slave to their emotions by allowing the emotions to hijack them. You have witnessed people determine how they feel based on their emotion, when the truth is, when we connect to our emotion, we don't need to determine how we feel because we understand what the emotion is giving us. And without even realizing it, when you suppress your emotions, you become emotionally unavailable. And you tend to think that you're emotionally available because I can show love, I can show connection. But the truth is, that's not what emotional availability is. Emotional availability is when you are able to navigate conflict, when you're able to be emotionally open in periods that are stressful. And most people avoid conflict at all costs. Or when they're in conflict, they are really in fight or flight, and they are ready to protect at all costs themselves, which means you're never going to get any sense, you're never going to get any apology, you're never going to get anything from somebody who is in that heightened sense, because they are just in protection mode. You are just in protection mode. Understanding that emotions need to be felt is vital, because when you don't understand that emotions need to be felt, what you're trying to do is you're trying to disconnect from a core aspect of who you are. Emotions are there to tell you something. They're there to tell you that somebody's hurt you. They're there to tell you that somebody's violated you. They're there to tell you that you're not happy about something. They're there to tell you that you need a boundary somewhere. They're there to tell you something. And you have been taught to disconnect from them because emotions have not been safe. You've not felt safe with emotions. Showing emotion, you would have got told off. You would have got told that, go away, go to your room, don't get angry with me. And to a degree, this is a parent's way of trying to disarm situations. But what it also does is it teaches you that your emotion is not safe. It's not safe to show emotions. But what we need in adulthood is we need people to be emotionally aware and emotionally intelligent, so people can start understanding what they need, but also what they feel, but also they can start understanding other people's emotions. If you don't understand your emotions, you will never understand anyone else's emotion. And that will show up as in You getting angry when somebody else shows emotion. You getting angry when somebody else, or you feeling sad when somebody else is showing an emotion that makes you feel uncomfortable. Because when you're not comfortable with your own emotions, you can never be comfortable with somebody else's emotions. And the reason why it's important for your health and for your mental health and physical health and emotional health to feel emotions is, one, emotions stop hijacking you. This was so paramount in my life. I used to be in depression bad. I went into psychosis. I had bipolar. I see PTSD. There were so many mental health diagnoses that I had. And I was a slave to my emotions. I was either numb and shut down and getting through life, or I was overwhelmed and agitated and on edge all the time. I didn't know what peace felt like. I'd never understood what safety and peace felt like in my body. And I remember when I first started meditating, how I used to always fall asleep and not be able to relax. When I first started doing somatic exercises, my anxiety ramped up a little bit because, I had an anxiety disorder and my body didn't know what it was doing. And then I started to slowly feel peace in my body. The more I did breathwork exercises to bring, and I'll show you one in a minute, which is one of my main ones that brings my nervous system to rest and digest. It brings anyone's nervous system to rest and digest because the nervous system feels safe. It knows that you're looking to understand it. And I remember starting to feel safe in my body because I was learning to respond to my emotions and not react to them. And when people are learning the responding versus reacting, they believe they've got to learn to respond against somebody else and not react. The truth is, you have to learn to respond to yourself and not react. Because it's when you respond to yourself and not react to yourself by allowing yourself to allow all those emotions just to hijack you, you give yourself space. So how did I learn? I started to give myself space to actually ask myself, what did my emotions, what does it feel like? And it hurt, I won't lie. I had to journal about it. I had to sit with it. I had to learn and teach myself to cry because I used to cry all the time. And then when I knew I needed to cry, I couldn't cry. I was in such a place of complete disconnection that I didn't get it. Why could I cry when I didn't want to cry, and when I needed to cry, I couldn't cry? I had to teach myself. I started to listen to music. That really allowed me to connect to it. I started to allow myself to bring in some memories that hurt so that I could teach myself to pendulate and lean into those memories and actually really, and you might have to do this with a therapist like myself. Maybe it might be too big for you and too much for you, where you have to be taught how to sit with those feelings. And you'll say, I don't want to. It's the past. Sitting with it can't change anything. What's the point? Because it's not about changing the past. It's about changing how that past has impacted your present and is absolutely affecting your life now. And you'll say, well, I don't think about my past daily, so of course it's not impacting my present. But it is though, isn't it? Because all the emotions that you have not felt from the things that you have experienced are all stuck. Just like a drain pipe that doesn't get unblocked. At some point it's going to smell. At some point, not only is it going to smell, it's going to start erupting and breaking. And if you only just partially unblock it, or if you keep changing the pipe every 5 years, 6 years without understanding why it's getting blocked, it's counterproductive. The same problem is going to keep happening. And like I was saying earlier, emotions are there to tell you something. The primary emotions such as anger, sadness, joy, and contentedness, and there's a couple of other primary emotions, but they actually hold sub-level emotions. Anger holds emotions such as fear, such as being scared. And when you look at the emotions wheel, you can understand, and you can go onto Google and you can look at the emotion wheel, and it will teach you to understand that there's sub-levels to your emotions. And what I learned is, when I ask myself, what do I feel? I feel angry. Do I really feel angry, or do I feel like sad? Or do I feel scared? And then I'd understand what the sub-level emotion was, and I was like, why? Okay, I feel fearful. Why do I feel fearful? Because I've got change going on in my life, which is challenging me to fear not succeeding. So I really thought I was angry, and I didn't know why, but I was really fearful actually. It was because I was fearful. I was fearful of, I'm not good enough, I'm not worthy, things aren't going to work out. So you look at your emotion and you find the sub-level emotion to it and you sit with it and you understand and ask it, why is it there? When you have sadness, sadness isn't just showing because it wants to piss you off. Sadness is showing because you're hurt. You might feel lost. You might feel disconnected. You might feel unheard, unsupported. Sadness is there for a reason. And when you understand why sadness is there, you can talk to it and understand why it's there. And you can understand what you need to learn from it, what you need to do about it, what boundary do you need to create, what behaviour do you need to work on so you can protect and support yourself, to help yourself. You are never, sadly, able to disconnect from anger and sadness and only connect to joy and happiness. Because if you build a wall against one, you build a wall against them all. And not only that, your body, when it holds all of this emotion, becomes very, very tense. And you all know this because you'll feel it in your shoulders, you'll feel it in the top of your neck, in your back. You'll feel this in your belly, like you'll just feel a tension. And what I do quite regularly is I allow myself to give a little body scan. So right now I'll go, okay, do I feel tension in my neck, in my shoulders? And if I do, I'll roll my shoulders, I'll roll my neck really round. I allow myself to bring my attention to the places I feel the tension, and I'll tense it and then I'll release it. I'll even move my arms from side to side, because this releases the pent-up emotional tension that you have in these muscles within your body. Rolling your neck. And this is why you have to give time to yourself. You've got to give yourself time to sit with yourself. And you will say, but I don't want to feel depressed. I don't want to feel like I used to feel. Depression is disconnection, and depression is when you don't give space to your emotions. So when you don't give space to something, it's going to fight you for space, and it's going to make you feel sad. And because you don't know how to lean into it or understand it, it's going to stay. But when you actually give active time to your sadness, yes, initially it may feel like, am I ever going to shake this? I remember feeling like, is it ever going to get better? And I had to learn to have faith. Faith that every time you face something and do something different, facing it, sitting with it, breathing into it, every time you do that, you are really allowing something different to occur. Just keeping going on with the same thing and pretending like it isn't there, you're going to keep fighting it. So one of the breathwork techniques that I absolutely love doing, and I do this more than once a day. And the reason why I do this more than once a day is because your nervous system can be activated more than once a day. I really breathe in through my nose, but a nice slow breath. I breathe into my shoulders, into my body, into my belly. And I hold gently. And then I slowly release through my mouth. Really allowing all the air to come out. Now, if you suffer an anxiety disorder in the beginning, this is going to feel very uncomfortable, and you don't force yourself too quickly to do the whole sequence. What you do is you gently breathe into your belly and out through your mouth, and you only do this for a short amount of time because it's like a rubber band. You've got to keep stretching gently for it to expand. You've got to teach your body a new way to breathe. Your body breathing differently may feel like it's going to give you an anxiety attack or panic attack. You've got to remind yourself that I'm safe. And the more you avoid it, the more you're leaning into the panic of this is wrong. Anything your body is not used to doing, it will scream it's wrong. So you have to just slowly each day do a couple of seconds to begin with. And then the more your body becomes used to it, and the more your body realizes it's not going to die because you're breathing differently, the more you're able to do it. I am safe. And you might want to do this where you set an intention of using some music. I don't need to use music now, but in the beginning, if I didn't use music, or I didn't give myself a space of 5 or 10 minutes of not being disturbed, then my brain would have wanted me to, my brain did, get up, do this, do that. Your brain is going to tell you to get up and do the dishes. Your brain is going to tell you that one of the children's calling you. Your brain's going to tell you that this is pathetic or pants. That's an old programming that your brain is programmed to tell you, because it doesn't want you doing anything that's different. It doesn't want you doing anything that's going to challenge you. So your brain is going to tell you lies. But it's not lies really, because not doing it is going to keep you safe and protected, but only temporarily, because it's going to keep you stuck. So you have to bypass what the brain is telling you, asking it, is this real though? Is my brain's programming me telling me I shouldn't do that? Is that real? Or is it just because it's trying to protect me from doing something that's different, that might bring temporary discomfort in the beginning, but it's going to help me long term? Something about healing that I have to say is, as humanity, we seek short-term comfort, short-term satisfaction. And we do anything to keep ourselves feeling good in the short term. Healing is going to bring short-term discomfort. It's going to bring discomfort in the beginning, but you have to really have faith that long-term, that healing and being committed to yourself is going to bring something different. When we breathe, we really allow ourselves to drop our shoulders. Maybe you only want to try this once a week. Buy a little bit of an incense. Create a 15-minute gap in your diary. Put on music. You might feel really sleepy after. That's because your body's not used to resting. Your body's not used to feeling the emotions, because when you come into rest and digest, you naturally feel emotions. You naturally start to feel something different. You unlock the energy that is locking the emotion away. It's really important that you learn to validate and feel and understand your emotions. Your whole behaviour is based on emotional disconnection and dysregulation. And if we ever want to grow as people, we have to really understand the link between our emotions and connections. Not between our brain and our thinking, but because while our brain also connects to our behaviour, our emotions connect to our behaviour too. And if we only ever focus on the brain and reprogramming it to change our behaviour, we miss out the core component of how the emotions drive your behaviour too. Because when emotionally you feel shit, you're not going to want to get up. But you also have to remember that it works backwards too. You're not going to emotionally feel good if you lean into the behaviour that keeps you stuck. So you have to flit. And as a therapist, I flit between three, teaching you to challenge the brain, look at the behaviour, focus on the emotion. The brain tells you not to get out of bed today, but you know you need to. Your body doesn't want to get out of bed because it's so tired and you feel shit for this. So what you do is you have to force your body out of bed. You have to tell your brain, I'm not going to do anything too big. I'm not going to run the marathon. I'm just going to go to the kitchen and get a cup of tea. And emotionally, that's going to make you feel really sad and really pain, like, I don't want to do this. And then you're going to feel the emotion. You're going to cry. And you're going to spend days and weeks like that. And then you're going to one day feel like you want to get up because you want to have that cup of tea. And it doesn't hurt as much, and it doesn't emotionally impact you as much, because each time you validate your emotions and you do something different with your behaviour and you challenge the brain, you are changing the energy and you are really changing yourself. I really hope that this video has brought you something. A part of my imposter syndrome sometimes makes me worry that I talk in circles and and everyone says they always gain so much from me, but in my healing, I have to really trust in the information that I'm delivering and keep working with my imposter syndrome and keep working with the part of me that feels like, what do I know? When in fact, I know a lot, because I've been on a healing journey for 20 years, but the most intense healing journey for 12 years, learning academically, spiritually, and mentally all of this stuff. If you are ever interested in working with me, I do have a website where all of my therapies are on there, my readings are on there, energy healing is on there. We can do them via Zoom or in person. I do have a therapy room. And you can find me on TikTok and you can find me on Facebook. Don't ever believe that you are unhealable, because no matter how complex your wounds may feel, or no matter how complex you have been told your wounds are, coming from me, I know you can heal them. Sending you so much love.